Let's talk about the configuration using DCNM and understand why it is so reliable. DCNM continuously monitors your Fabric devices to make sure they all match the expected deployed policies. As we have seen, the policies come from small templates establishing the network models. If the current configuration running on the network devices are similar with the configuration pushed by DCNM, all the devices are represented in green in the Fabric view. And that is true regardless the Fabric model. It can be a VXLAN EVPN, Classic LAN, external Fabric, MSD, etc. The concept relies on the process called config compliance, or CC, that scans continuously each device configuration and compares them with the initial config from DCNM. If something has changed, DCNM will immediately notify the differences and it will alarm you with a red status of all concerned devices. Assuming someone changes the configuration on the switch using its console port, for example, and you are not aware, the configuration of the concerned switches will be out of compliance conditions, meaning that its configuration will not be in sync anymore with DCNM database. This change could impact the stability or efficiency of the Fabric. Consequently, if an out of compliance condition is detected in the underlay, the overlay, or the access layer, the system will alert and build a diff set to restore the compliance with the current policy settings when you want. You can see immediately the alarm for the concerned node in red. You can review the differences and deploy the remediations when you want to. There is no auto-remediate process since it might be a concern for customers who are, for example, troubleshooting. We want the network manager to review and press the knob to remediate when they believe this is the best time. Remediation does not require a write erase or disruptions. It uses the Cisco distributed control plane along with the commands that brings the device back to compliance that triggers the color to become green again. Let's see a demo with the config compliance to better capture step-by-step the impact and how DCNM helps to detect and remediate immediately against any change configuration that comes directly from the device management. An application is hosted by a server connected to LIF4 interface Ethernet 1/18. All is good. The end user can access the application. A change configuration occurs suddenly in interface E1/18 LIF4. As a result, the application stops working. The config compliant process detects a change and highlights the device concerns by the change in the Fabric view. The end user can immediately preview the differences and accept to deploy back the initial configuration to resolve the issue. Consequently, after deploying the initial configuration, the application is back available again. Let's have a look. Let's go to LIFO and check the configuration for the interface E1/18. As you can see, several VLANs are allowed across the trunk, including the VLAN 2100 and 2101, which are the user VLANs if you want. As expected, currently the end user can access the applications 101.55. Now, assume someone revokes the configuration of the interface E1/18, maybe by mistake, by applying the default parameters. As a result, the reachability to this application stops immediately. Now let's have a look at what happens from the DCNM applications. After a short period of time, the config compliant process monitors the configuration for LIF4. This action of CC can also be triggered manually by calling the resync fabric to see an immediate result. Otherwise, it may take a few minutes for the next polling to happen. The LIF4 appears now in red. This means that the device is no more in sync with the expected configuration from DCNM. You can right-click on the device and select Deploy Config in order to preview and push the expected configuration toward the node. You can preview the configuration and you can look at the differences with the current configuration if you wish. As you can see, the differences highlighted in green show that the configuration of the interface has been removed. You can now deploy. After a few seconds, LiFO appears back green again. The application is back reachable for the end user.